Welcome to the Friday Fraudster podcast with Kelly Paxton, pink collar crime expert, Joe Irvin, your person for all things ethics, and Robert Berry, the guy who helps you ask better questions. Join them as they discuss sad, funny, and sometimes disturbing fraud stories. Be sure to catch past episodes on your favorite podcasting platform or go to www.fridayfraudster.com and grab some CPE while you're there.
Ooh, hey, what's happening, guys?
Okay, we got to give a huge shout out for the hat. I did not have one. That is so amazing.
Thank you. I wear it every year, once a year, but every year I enjoy it so much. And Joe did send me a few selfies of her dressed up with the St. Patrick's Day stuff. So I needed to fill that gap since I'm filling some big shoes.
All right. So for those just listening who can't see the visual, welcome to episode number 99 of the Friday Fraudster. Boy, did she keep the books. Now, for those of you who can't see, we have a special guest today. Joe is not here. Joe, you know what? Joe decided that spending St. Patrick's Day with her family was more important than spending time with us.
Yeah, very sad.
It's pretty sad. I'll say she made the right decision.
Yeah.
But we have our special guest. Now, special guest, who are you?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth McDowell. I have recently founded the firm Audit Forward, which is an internal audit consulting firm focused on credit unions. But I have been in the internal audit industry for close to 20 years at this point.
Credit unions, eh? So I guess we could say that you've seen a lot of green in your career. Yep.
A lot of green. Very nice. Yes.
You didn't know you were going to get a free
comedy show?
Comedy show.
Yes. Yeah. Tip your waitresses.
Now, I didn't say, yeah, I was right. I didn't say it was going to be quality comedy now.
Oh my God. Who's using ChatGPT to write jokes?
Oh, I'm using it for everything.
You're using it right now, aren't you?
Exactly. Do you think I'm this witty? No.
So I actually have never used ChatGPT. However, my friend Brittany, who, Robert, I think you met her at a conference, Brittany McKinley, actually helped me come up with my business name, Audit Forward, by putting everything into ChatGPT, and it came out with that suggestion, and the domain was available. But it's kind of funny because I've never actually used it myself, which makes me sound like really old and outdated. So maybe I should change that.
You know what? I didn't expect this to go to ChatGPT, but let me make a special announcement right here since we're talking about ChatGPT. Now, if you go to my website, you'll see a few articles that I've written about ChatGPT and the risk that it poses for auditors. But now here's what I'm going to do. Since we've talked about the risk, I have a special training course that we are doing on how to use ChatGPT to make your audits more efficient. Now, here's the thing. We're going to do that course on April the 3rd. If you want some information about it, email me. It is not free. I repeat, it is not free, so don't even ask me that. Look, it's 2 hours, and what we're going through is how to use ChatGPT for planning, for field work, and for reporting, all three phases of your audit project. I'm an avid user of it, and I think that it is great. So if you want to learn how it can help improve your audit processes, let's get to it. Kelly.
Yes.
I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Do you give money to charity?
Oh God. I have to say I am not very good about
Way to put her on the spot.
I do it all the time.
I'm not very good about that because of fraud, because of also like I kind of require a lot of due diligence on the front end, and then I kind of lose my juju. But like, I know I need to be better. Let's just say that. I know I need to be better. And one interesting thing is it will be anonymous. I can't tie my name to it. I just for fraud reasons.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys listening in the chat. Do you give money to charity? Elizabeth, what about you? Do you give money to charity?
I do give money to charities, but I also try to give with my time. So I'm on the board of the local food bank. So doing meetings every month and helping with the financials for that, and just physically volunteering. We did an event with Audit Board actually last week at at Broomfield Fish, the food pantry that I volunteer with. And so that was exciting. So I try to both give in time and money.
Yeah. I think charity is important. And I think most charitable organizations have a good cause. And I think a lot of people, though, want to make sure that their money is being spent on whatever it is that they've donated the money to. Right. And so I was reading, I remember a few years ago, I started looking at statistics, and I saw some stat that said only about 10% of the funds made it to whatever cause the charity was supporting, and that, you know, anywhere from 80 to 90% of money was spent on administrative overhead stuff.
That's incredibly high. I think there's a lot of pressure in the industry to show how much money goes directly. So for an example, the organization that I'm on the board for uses the statistic that 95 cents out of every dollar goes directly to the organization, but that's actually really hard to maintain too, because you have to pay people to retain them, and you do have overhead. So it's a balance of how much do you spend.
Yeah, and I think nowadays, thankfully, there's some websites that will show you how much is spent, and they'll do ratings and grades and rankings. So I think we're getting better and better at it. I guess I should answer the question too. You know, in the last several years, I've not given money to charity. I used to, but I really used to donate my time. I used to volunteer at food banks and nursing homes. Playing bingo with old people is a whole lot of fun. I mean, it really, and I'm not being sarcastic. It really is, because you never know what they're going to say. Like it, when you're old and you don't care, man,
do not care anymore.
Yes, yes.
Elizabeth brought this up, and you just also mentioned this, and I didn't say this. The time thing, I think, is so incredibly important, because our time's really, really valuable. But at the same time, I feel that we get back even more than we put in with our time.
Yes, agreed, 100%. I think the experiences that you get are just so valuable. And because I wasn't joking, I learned a lot from those old people. They would give you their experiences about life, and just hearing them talk about things like the Great Depression gave me some context and clarity when the 2008 crash happened. And even now I'm thinking back on some of the things that they said. Like I remember this one old man, he always told me, he would always say, spend time with people who count the most. Don't count your dollars, count your time. And I was like, oh wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
So
money's replaceable. Time isn't.
Yeah, you got that right. So, all right. So what are we talking about today? Ooh, today is a really interesting one, because there's a charity in Texas that was started by Jim Collins, who was a former congressman. He died in 1989 after serving our country in Congress. And I know we have a lot of jokes that we say about politicians, but really I think that's, to a certain extent, a very important job that's oftentimes a thankless job, because, I mean, you're shaping or developing policy that shapes the nation. So Jim was a wealthy businessman. He left a lot of money to charity, a lot of money. They had the Collins American Capital Corporation and the International Family Investors Ltd. Charitable Fund. And unfortunately, around December, Barbara Chalmers, who was 74 years old, pled guilty to bilking them out of a lot of money. I'm not going to even say how much money just yet. I just want to get your reaction, Kelly and Elizabeth. What do you think about that? robbing a charity?
I think it's about as low as you can go. I'm sure there's somewhere lower, but an organization that is set up and designed to help people who are the most vulnerable, and stealing from that it's pretty low.
Yeah. But unfortunately it happens so often.
Yeah, it does.
But the other thing is, like, she's 74, and I do this in my presentation: never too old to steal. Don't trust grandma. So if you're going to have this sort of idea of a bad guy, Barbara Chalmers probably doesn't look like a bad guy, and you're not going to cross the street when you see her because, she was probably very respected.
I know you're going to get into it more, Rob, but what she did with the money was put it into a construction business that she owned. And I think that is so strange. I'm like, if I were going to steal money, I don't think I'd start a construction business, because that's a lot of work that she's doing. And it makes no sense to me that she would steal this much to fund a construction business.
That is crazy. So the question that I'm asking for the audience, what do you think about someone who steals from a charity? But listen, Bob Wessler is here again, always with the good stuff. And here's a joke. He says, what do you call a diseased Irish criminal? A leprechaun. That was good. That was good. Why? Okay. I'll stop. I'll stop. Why do people wear shamrocks on St. Patrick's Day? Because real rocks are too heavy.
Shamrocks. Took a second.
Anybody remember the Sham Wow? You remember that commercial?
Yes.
The little the Sham Wow. Okay. So now back to Our Lady. She admitted that she began writing checks to herself in 2012. They're estimating that she wrote 175 checks that totaled more than $25 million. How?
Well, one of the things that stands out to me from that is those are some really big checks. She wasn't doing this $1,000 at a time. It's like 100. I did the math. I don't remember, but like $160,000 average per check. Like, that's massive.
Yep.
This is where I would want to see Benford's Law run on the charity.
Yep.
Like,
absolutely.
Were those outliers? What was the average check from the charity? I mean, I did some work for a charitable foundation in fall, and I did some due diligence beforehand to see how big of charitable foundation it was. And they give out big money. So 160 might not be, if the average like donation is like 250, 500, even 750, 750,000, 160 might not be a big deal for them. I would love to see, okay, Mark Negrini, come on, do the Benford's Law on this.
Yep.
It would be fascinating.
Well, now, they're saying that she falsified paperwork that went to the tax preparers that would misstate the amount of cash on hand at year end. But of course, she also had access to the checks, access to the bank accounts, access to do the reconciliations. So she had full-fledged access to everything. So here's some of the red flags, though. She
pink flags. She's a pink color criminal.
You know what? You're right. Those were definitely pink flags. Yes. Definitely. So let's talk about how they actually caught this then. Let's talk about this. Because she had been doing it since 2012. And what they're saying is after Collins died, his wife took over the charity. So now My guess is this was a trusted employee that the wife just leaned on heavily. And it was not until after the wife died that descendants took over the charity and started questioning many of the transactions. When they started questioning the transactions, that is when the fraud scheme fell apart. So it reminded me of Kelly, trust is not a control.
Well, and then the other thing is like, I didn't have time to do this, and maybe someone can quickly do this. I don't know how quickly it is, but like, what does the Form 990 show for this charity?
Yeah.
Like,
I tried to look for it and I couldn't find it.
Oh, interesting. I see a version of like Succession, or I don't know. I see a dysfunctional family at the core of this. Sorry.
I think you might be onto something there, because you got to think, while the wife was in charge, why didn't no one look, or anyone look at the things that the family looked at after she passed? I think she may have been the gatekeeper because she trusted this bookkeeper.
But where was the governance? Where's the board? Where's the, I mean, even small nonprofit organizations should have controls in place around the access to the checking accounts and the checks and the reconciliations and all of that.
Well, and did it start as like a small little nonprofit and it just grew? So it was kind of like the board was very familial, or just like it was more of a social thing to do? I mean, I've seen boards where it's socially like,
right.
You know, yeah.
Just to put on your resume or chat.
So now, from what I've seen, they started with a lot of money because Collins was an extremely successful businessman. So he donated quite a large sum of money to the charity because he was passionate about the causes. They gave money to schools and, underprivileged persons and things like that. So they had their hands in a lot of different things.
So as part of fraud and pop culture that Joe and I do sometimes together, it just reminds me of like Succession, or like some of these TV shows or movies where the family is very dysfunctional. And I have no basis for that knowledge, but yeah.
Yeah. So
tone at the top. It shows a P&L, BS, and a list of documents, donations.
What's really interesting about this one is they're saying that all the family did was look at the bank statements after the wife passed away. They're saying it was just that simple.
Well, and where were the accountants?
Right. Even not just the annual audit. Where was the accountant for the monthly? I mean, maybe there weren't any monthly financials or any kind of reconciliation being done.
From what I read, she was it. Yeah. From what I read, she was it.
Not good.
Yeah. She even provided the tax accountant with false documentation.
Trust but verify. Did they not? Like, I mean, this is like a small scale, but like, it's like one of the big four is not even calling up the banks to see what the actual balances are.
Now, we saw that in Wirecard, didn't we?
Yeah. And is it because we have this image of a 74-year-old woman who would never do something like that? Like, just never. We have bias. Implicit bias. Oh my God, I listened to a couple of great podcasts yesterday, 2 of them being about implicit bias on the hidden brain. So good. I went to school yesterday.
Now we're getting somewhere though. Because even if they had done a background check on her, I don't think she had a pass. Because normally, what do we say? Do a background check on people. but I don't think they would have caught that with her. And she's been doing it since 2012. So she was probably a trusted employee. And because of that trust, she was able to get away with it. But like you just said, Kelly, what is our bias? We have a bias towards older people. We have a bias towards trusted employees. We have a bias towards people that we like.
Yeah. What are the chances, though, that she did this for the first time in her 60s? Like, that is such a huge leap to make. And like I said, it wasn't just $1,000. This was, what did you say, 24 million?
29. So, 29. Robert, did you look and see what company, the name of the company that she was president of? I'm just going to, like, I didn't look, but I'm going to go husband, kid. There's some relation to that construction company that she was, yeah.
That's where I was going with it, Kelly. Ooh. So I could not find the name of it. I found the name of it, but then I couldn't find it anywhere. So that was my guess. With that amount of money, husband, son, boyfriend, construction company, it was going not so well. That money was used to prop it up or to help it fund payroll during times when, you know, because for some construction projects, you wait a while before you actually get paid after you've performed the work. So that was a big part of my guess, because I was thinking, why would a 60, because at that point she would have been 60, why would a 60-something-year-old woman be interested in construction to the point where it's causing her a lot of stress? And that was a second job, not your primary job. Yeah,
maybe
that doesn't
even a
seem...
grandson.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Could have even been a grandson. Yeah. Yeah.
Or
now we got some good
questions. We're doing bias here, you guys. I said son, husband. Right. It could be a daughter, a female relation. See, it's our bias. Right. Construction, if we would have said beauty parlor, we would have said daughter, granddaughter. But these are our bias.
Yep.
Such a good point.
Very good point. And that bias is what kept the family from discovering the fraud. I mean, if we're just being really honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't found the name of the construction company. That's one thing that I was looking for, because like you, Kelly, I'm thinking ownership of it must have been with someone else, because there's no way you could do 2 full-time jobs. Like, this bookkeeping was her full-time job. So
it was WOE Construction Inc. And she was the president. WOE. Whoa.
Oh my God. Whoa. Like, stop.
I don't know anything about
acronym. Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh goodness, I see it now. It's permanently closed according to. Well, and it has a LinkedIn profile too. Says it has
kind of construction. Is it like houses, big buildings, roads? Sorry, I'm behind.
Oh, that's a good question.
Ooh.
Oh wow. They've got some Glassdoor ratings too.
Ooh. They've got 23 Google reviews. What kind of company has employees that do the following? Go to a very busy fuel station that also contains an eating area, leaving his pickup parked at a fuel pump while he is inside. Oh my God, you people. That was 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Excellent company. Billy is my boss. Gary is good. Ryan is also good. A concrete saw blade falls off the truck and ruins my car. Oh my God. So funny. This is way funny.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. I see. It was concrete construction.
Yeah. Well, you know who should take it over is Cheryl Obermiller.
You know what?
She'll turn that thing into the green so quick, your head would spin.
So they had about 26 employees that were on LinkedIn at one point in time.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot, especially for that kind of company to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Whoa. Oh, you know what WOE stands for, you guys? Woman of embezzlement.
You just called me that?
I've made
Oh my goodness.
Rob.
But you know, the question really does become, though, in all seriousness, if she started it in 2012, the embezzling, how long was the company possibly not doing great? And did she spend it on other things that the investigators just hadn't found out about yet? Like where are the trips to Disney? Because usually our people go to Disney, right?
Right.
So that's a real odd one. And somebody's saying, Elizabeth, you touched on an interesting point. Some nonprofit board members are just there for show and don't add to the organization's governance.
Absolutely. That's something that when we're interviewing prospective board members, we emphasize, like, we don't really want you here if you're just here to put it on your resume or to look good to the community. We're here to get our hands dirty and really help out.
100%.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm so excited. So it gives the trial attorneys. I want to see if maybe eventually we can get them on both of our podcasts. Wouldn't that be fun?
Oh, that would be fun. Oh, speaking of both of our podcasts, should we tell people? The surprise guest that we're gonna have for episode 100?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys. All right. So episode 100 is coming up. It won't be this Friday coming up because we're gonna do a repeat this Friday. I have something to do. Anyway, but next Friday for the 100th episode, we are going to have one of the young ladies that was on the Tinder Swindler.
Yeah. And she's going to be on Fraudish too.
And she's going to be on Kelly's podcast, Fraudish, as well. Isn't that going to be fun?
It's going to be a blast.
Very exciting.
Stay tuned, because just come with all your questions. I mean, this is going to be really interesting. Because remember the episode where we covered that, a lot of us had a lot of things to say. So, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So, while we're here and we have your attention too, you guys, Audit Bites, my podcast on auditing, we got an episode coming up Monday. Monday is going to be a very interesting episode. Monday, I'm going to talk about why you can't find and or keep good internal auditing staff. I'm going to make some of you mad with some of the reasons that I give, but it is what it is.
It's hard to both find and keep good people who are really wanting to make things better and not just check the box and do the same thing over and over.
Yeah, if you just want to check the box, do socks.
Yeah. That's funny, but yes, true.
Very much so true. All right, so episode number 99, she really kept the books and the money. She kept all the green to herself. You know what? That would have been good for St. Patty's Day, her keeping the green. I should have done a green joke. Darn it.
Chat GPT, give us a good St. Patrick's Day joke.
Exactly. You know what? I think I may actually have Chat GPT open right now. I was really serious when I said it is a tool that you should use because it can be used for good or bad. And if you use it for good, then St. Patrick's Day joke.
So you know what was interesting? I was listening to Pivot today on my walk, and they were talking about Chat GPT. And we know about it, but if I were to ask my friends about Chat GPT, their eyes would glaze over. It's kind of fascinating because I put in who talks on Pink Collar Crime last night, and I knew everyone but the last person. And I Googled I can't even find the last person online. And it was 3 professors and me. I was so excited that I actually showed up. I was the bottom. I wasn't the very bottom. There was another person below me, but I can't find him.
Ooh. So here's what Chat GPT says. So Why don't you iron a 4-leaf clover? Why don't you iron a 4-leaf clover?
I have no idea. And I'm Irish.
Because you don't want to press your luck.
Nah. I love corny jokes.
That's a dad
That
joke.
was actually a good one. But no, I think that it is a really good tool. They actually have version 4.0 out now, and this thing is kind of crazy too. I think that if you use it appropriately, you can cut down your time on doing certain things. It's not the end all be all. I wouldn't copy paste, but it does give you some really good ideas on like I've got another book that I'm writing, and I was trying to think of a catchy title. Went to Chat GPT, combined 5 different things that it gave me, and it was like, "Ooh, this is it." So it didn't give me the book title, but it gave me several suggestions where I was able to, you know, put some things together. So, you know, oh, thank you, Clarence. Clarence says a great topic and you won't miss Monday's show. Clarence, I'm going to make a few people mad, man. Just be prepared. Make them mad. It's
Love it.
It is what it is.
They love you. They hate you. No money in the middle.
Right? Well, you know, the thing is, I think some people, sometimes our profession, we're too soft on certain things, and then other things we aren't as objective as we need to be. We have these opinions that we push down on people without even understanding things first, and that makes us look like buttholes. And who wants to work with a butthole? I mean, really. And you know, so I'm going to do a couple of real life examples. I'm going to pull some things off of the internet and really talk about this. These are things that we do that are very destructive, that prevent us from being the best that we can be. And I'll say, like I always say, it's not done to make somebody mad or to make them look stupid. It's done really to be constructive. And if you can't handle constructive criticism, then something's wrong with you.
I had difficulty for a long time accepting criticism, even constructive criticism. But I've learned that it's the only way you get better. It's the only way you grow.
Well, I think what's odd with us auditors is we give it all the time. So why in the heck can't we be good at receiving it? That doesn't make sense. Like,
when I was at Fidelity Investments, I was on the quality assurance team. And so I would review the audits and provide feedback. And auditors, including myself, when I was QA'd, are the absolute worst at receiving it. And it is so ironic because that's what we do to people every day is get feedback, and we expect them to not be too cranky about it. But then receiving feedback ourselves can be difficult.
Yeah. Well, and I think we have to reframe. We're going off on a whole nother topic, but I think we have to reframe the way that we think about feedback, because, so like, for example, you all know that I'm a trainer, and normally my results from conferences are extremely good. Like, you get these ratings 1 through 5, and I'm usually sitting at like 4.8 or something. But the one thing that I do is I go directly to the bad remark first, because there's usually one.
There's always one.
Because my thought is, if this thing has merit, then it can help me improve. Or the thing that they might be complaining about might be something that I don't want to improve upon. And that still helps me too, because it lets me know that this person is not a part of my audience, and this is someone I don't need to try and cater to. Mm-hmm. So I don't look at it as, you know, you hate me. I mean, heck, you may dislike something that I've done or said. But I actually had somebody on LinkedIn recently come at me yelling, typing in all caps. And I was like, dang, is it really that serious? Like, okay. Here's what was even more interesting about it. He actually agreed with what I said, but was telling me that he disagreed with what I said. Now, I thought that was real funny. And it gets even better. It was a fellow auditor. And I was like, whoa, somebody's communication skills need a makeover. So anyway, Friday Fraudster, episode 99. She kept the books. She stole a whole lot of money from a charitable organization. From what I can tell, most of us here, we dislike that. We don't like people stealing from charities. But
hopefully nobody likes it.
Okay, I have a quick question. Who's going to get sued based on this?
Ooh, that's a good question.
The construction company?
No, I know where Kelly's going with this.
Who's going to get sued? People are going to get sued. Board members might get sued.
Yeah.
Guess who's going to win? Guess who's going to win? The attorneys.
The lawyers?
Yep. There's going to be lawsuits.
Yeah.
And did she have like fidelity coverage? Did they have fidelity coverage on her? Oh, they didn't have this much money on her. I'm certain of it.
Yeah.
So even though I said I want to reach out to the U.S. attorneys, they're not going to talk until she's fully sentenced.
Yeah.
That's actually one thing that I found surprising was I think the max sentence is 10 years. And I know that you guys are much more versed in fraud, sentencing, and all of that than I am. But I was like, oh my God, for that much money, 10 years? That seems so short for such a large amount of money.
Well, and here's the other thing too. 10 years is the maximum sentence.
Right.
What if she doesn't get the max?
She's 74. She's not getting the max.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
She really isn't. But you actually have some criminals who actually weigh that. They commit crimes that have sentences that aren't that long, and they stash away the money and they come out with money.
That's a good point. It's worth it to spend a few years in jail to end up with the money. That's assuming that you hide it well enough that it's not going to get found.
True. And there's going to be forfeiture because there's equipment. The construction company had equipment. There's going to be forfeiture.
There you go. On this one, they will get the money because it will be traced. I mean, this one, I don't think she actually tried to hide it. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, maybe even the construction company's accountants will be sued.
Yeah. So when you asked that question, there were a few thoughts that ran through my head. One, the board members. Two, the charity itself from the donors, because they're going to say that you did not carry out our wishes. Now, I think with this charity, a majority of the money was based on the money that the congressman actually gave. So I think most of it was the family's money. But for anybody else who donated money after that, I think you might see them attempting to sue. So I think, yeah, between the board members, any potential donors, it's probably fair game at this point. And to Kelly's point, the lawyers are going to ultimately win because that's just how this stuff works.
They always get paid, don't they?
Yes, they do. They always get paid.
Yes.
Not that I know through personal experience or anything like that.
I got to go. I got St. Patrick's Day stuff to do.
Yep. So thank you guys for joining us on episode number 99. We're going to see you on the next episode, which is episode 100. Let's celebrate 100 episodes. Y'all tell a friend about this podcast. Go out, give us some good reviews on the podcasting platforms. Tell all your friends on LinkedIn, YouTube, and anywhere else you have podcasts that are broadcast. See you next time.